welcome in to the final city tour on our farewell to City Skylines 1 series. This was the last city that I created in City Skylines 1. The last episode was the very first city I created. It was basically vanilla. This one's got all the mods, and I actually used almost all of the mods in this particular build. I really like this build. It's a culmination of a lot of like my learnings and just inspirations across different City Skylines 1 content creators and across our community. You'll see very quickly about the build. It's very unique, very different, but also very grounded, kind of realistic build in a couple different ways, and then completely creative and kind of off the wall in a few different ways. We'll jump in and go through the entire build. But if you need to catch up on any of our other builds, we reviewed every single build that I've ever done in City Skylines 1 throughout this series. Just a quick city tour of each one, just bringing back memories. This one is the most recent build. However, I made some improvements and adjustments off stream. City Skylines 2 is out, and it's good. I've really been enjoying it. So you can always join us over at twitch.tv/MadishMoose. On Wednesday nights is the night that I stream City Skylines 2. This is the final installment of this series. I hope you enjoy the city tour. Let's jump into the game, and we'll take a look at Moose Island. Here we are in Moose Island. It is a beautiful early morning on the island. Don't ask me where I found this map. It was on the workshop, the Steam workshop, buried deep somewhere. I found it, I saw it, and I was like, this is the one for this particular build. There's a couple things you need to know about this build. It was a project I worked on off stream, off recording for a very long time, and I'll show you the pieces I worked on off stream. And then the rest of the tour will consist of going through kind of different things and ideas throughout the build. This build was a particularly unique build. We're gonna I'll hit play so that we got just movement and beautiful things going on throughout. You can see that we're on the mainland, looking out at our beautiful island of Moose Island. Appears to be some sort of probably dormant volcano. We can see a part of a skyline up on the mountain. We've got build kind of across the different island portions here. And this build was really kind of a celebration of the community. And so if you're not familiar with how we do things on the Twitch channel, we have different wings. So when you're a part of the Moose Squadron, the community, we have different wings. And so we allowed kind of each wing to inspire or build out a section of the city. So I built it all on stream, but they provided the inspiration for it. So you can see some of the different areas already kind of cropping up. So we'll do a quick zoom out. I'll give you an overview of kind of the idea behind the city. It's obviously, in its base form, pretty ridiculous, because it's just like an absolutely massive island with huge bridges running out to it from the mainland. But you can see what we've done is broken it up into sections. So if we look at the districting, you can actually see Vanguard Wing, one of our wings over here, and their inspired build, Shadow Wing and their inspired build, Phoenix Wing, and then Rogue Wing over here with their inspired build. And then the center of the mountain was reserved for my build, for just stuff that I wanted to build in the center there. So that's the concept behind the build, different inspirations from different groups of the community within the build itself. Now, the part of the build that is kind of most intriguing, at least I personally think is most intriguing, from a traffic standpoint, is the intricate underground system that I created. And this is what I built primarily off stream as kind of just a pet project that I was running, basically. There's an intricate kind of, it's not a highway necessarily, but there's a pseudo highway that runs along the outside, kind of a ring road around the outside. But the main method of transportation for this city actually occurs under the mountain. You can see the lines crisscrossing everywhere. This is actually one ginormous roundabout. So traffic is the inside ring here, you can go like max speeds. I upped it to like max speeds. And it is a roundabout. It does not go both directions. So if you get on, you have to go around the roundabout. So this literally goes around the entire mountain. And at each section point, you have a split, and so you can choose to get off there You can also choose to go straight across. There's a straight across, so each direction, you don't have to go around. If you want to go straight across to the other side, you could do that through the center. And then you could also go up, which is, just ignore, look, cars, if cars die in here, it's fine. They'll get taken care of. You can see the steep incline up into the main section of Moose Mountain. That is kind of the intricateness of the road layout, which I love. You can also see there is metro lines coming out of a main metro station here. So we got metro running through to each of the different sections. This is actually the best way to show the metro, so we'll just go through that now. This is the main metro station in downtown, and it loops out into each of the districts in each of the areas. And so you can see that we're moving people around in several different ways from a traffic standpoint to keep things kind of flowing throughout the entire island. So we will start our little tour as it begins to rain, as it often does on the island. We will start our tour in the first part of the build, which was our Phoenix Wing District. You can get a nice look at it here. This particular build was inspired by one of my favorite City Skylines content creators, my good friend Canadian Moose Plays. He built a city several different times, actually, called Cascadia Bay. This is kind of a miniaturized version of Cascadia Bay. Actually, kind of perfect that it is raining while we are here at Cascadia Bay. It's took a lot of inspiration from his different builds across different periods of time with the tower offset structure. We've got a double stack viaduct across the top. We have a tram road, as you can see, kind of pulling trams across, moving traffic in this direction. Our water level apparently has gone way down, so that, it's fine. And all of our ridiculous spaghetti that happened, all of this is fully functioning. But because we were double stacking a viaduct across multiple directions, it became very intriguing to put it all together. It's also built on a hill, so everything is built kind of up, which of course in City Skylines means a lot of interesting kind of build conundrums, but we've got some nice... I detailed this probably more than I ever detail anything, because it was inspired by Canadian Moose Plays, and he's pretty heavy detailer. I put in a lot of trees and parking and different things that you can see throughout the build. We've got rail connections, and then the Phoenix Wing feature of this is, if we zoom out, the double stacked viaduct is in the shape of a P. P for Phoenix Wing, and it is double stacked the entire way. So you've got your spaghetti over here, you've got your interchange here that's functioning, and then back at the end you've got it on and offs as well. You can see the suburbs have expanded out. We've got our stadium off to the side, rail coming directly through and under, actually, the main suburban area of the city. Some industry buildings and stuff, children's hospital off to the side, parking into the city, and we've got our main boulevard that runs through. That's the main boulevard that runs around the entire city. So this is how Phoenix Wing's build turned out. Really enjoyed putting this together. Just again, a culmination of inspirations from builders, particularly builders who are part of Phoenix Wing, and enjoyed kind of taking feedback from the wing as to how we were going to kind of put everything together. As the sun sets, the sun is setting. I'm going to go ahead and let it set, because the nighttime views here in Phoenix Wing are just cool. It's a cool look, so we'll go ahead and you can see in the background our main industrial area. That's where Rogue did their build. We'll head over there here in just a little bit. But this, as the lights turn on and the sun sets, the Phoenix Wing build area looks really cool. So we'll let that transpire as the sun goes down on Moose Island. A little sunset in there. Lights turn on the buildings. Trams carrying people across our quay wall. Rain effect is good at night too. This looks good. Anyways, you get that kind of really nice view, that nice look at some of the buildings here, the double stacked viaduct all the way through. That's the Phoenix Wing section of the build. Very much enjoyed this particular build. And then we got a little bit of interesting inspiration. We'll skip all the way across the map. We'll skip over to Vanguard Wing, and you could quickly see a very unique and different style of build from Vanguard Wing. You can see the inspiration. It is a V. It is also, of course, an Imperial Star Destroyer. And the challenge was, can you build a functioning Imperial Star Destroyer in Cities Skylines? Turns out you can. I did have to put a couple extra entrance points off because this was getting a little congested with all the buildings in here. But as we zoom in, it looks really good at night too because it really accentuates kind of the shape. And we'll let it kind of go through until morning. You can see we have not a stacked highway, but an elevated highway that actually creates the base for our Star Destroyer. You can see the elevation changes up into it. If you can picture a Star Destroyer, look up a picture of one. It's got the elevation change in the triangular kind of shape. If you kind of three-dimensionalize, a triangle, basically, is the ideation. I actually love this view as well because you could actually see our tallest building down over in the back there from our main city from the Star Destroyer. So the Star Destroyer is full of one-ways and very tiny roads. You can see the buildings are stacked very closely together. This was kind of painstakingly put together to resemble our Star Destroyer. And you've got all kinds of shapes and different buildings. I used a little bit of PO in this one. I used a little bit of PO to flip some items, keep our Star Destroyer looking as symmetrical as possible. And then the back kind of takes shape. Looks pretty cool, actually, back here. You've got on and off ramps going in there. And then most of the city's services, utilities, different things of that nature actually came in on the outside because obviously those buildings didn't quite fit with the model that we were trying to exemplify. So this is our Vanguard Wing build, our beautiful Star Destroyer. I don't know, it just looks cool. The height differential, you can see the build through the main Star Destroyer. Looks really good. Looks good. I think I'm going to turn off the rain because I think we've experienced the nice little rain, so that's good. We'll let the day-night cycle continue, but I'm going to turn off the rain, allow the island to dry out a little bit as we continue on through. It's nice to get a rain because it is popular on this island, the rain. So there's our Star Destroyer build. Again, traffic is questionable at the Star Destroyer. It's a little congested inside, as you can see. Streets are considerably narrow. That fire is still going, so hopefully someone can put that out. But that's the Star Destroyer build from Vanguard Wing. It was a lot of fun to put together. And very enjoyable selecting the buildings to make the shape. I actually used a little model that I had to kind of really make sure I got like dimensions and angles and all correct for the Star Destroyer. So there is our Vanguard Wing district. The sun is about to come up. I'm not actually sure it is. Okay, it is. We'll hang out. We'll hang out here. You've got to get a zoomed out view of the island to kind of see what we're working with. Over here is the Shadow Wing district, which we'll go visit towards the end. We'll head over here next, and you can actually see in the distance out here is basically our mainland area. I put all of the like main city services out there, so all our power's being pumped from there, all of our water's being pumped from there. Just did all that on the mainland, so we didn't have to worry about it in the main section of the city. So as morning breaks, we'll make our switch over to our main industrial area in the Rogue Wing section. Here's our Star Destroyer. As lights turn off, you can kind of get the view of what it would look like during the day. Really fun build to put together. I enjoyed this one. I thought it turned out really cool. Obviously completely and drastically different from the Phoenix section of the build, which I think is kind of what we were going for. So there you are, the Star Destroyer. It looks pretty good. Love the look. Love the highways with the cars driving around on the outside, getting people to and from different places. So there's our Vanguard Wing district, and so we'll swing over to Rogue Wing. Now, Rogue had some intriguing ideas, and as you start to see here, the famous saying of Rogue Wing is third. They enjoy apparently being in third place, and so third is the infamous saying of Rogue. And so here you can see our industry area. So they wanted the F for farms. They have a farm industry here. Inky Oil is our oil industry. We have the R for our ore industry, and then of course our D for our deadwood industry. The big D, if you will, coming in. And so huge industry area. I don't think we've ever seen industry demand at all in this city because of this. And because of that, we also went with a large cargo-only airport that we built out. Also lots of storage for all the goods that are produced. If industry ever needed to pop up, this is zoned industry. It's never popped up. So we also have a high residential demand right now. So that's one of the reasons. Rail obviously running through all of the different components here. And then just to ensure that the industry area was doing just fine, we also have our shipping. All of our shipping, cargo shipping comes through here. And you know, the boat captains sometimes need a hotel to stay at, or a hospital. The hotel's up on the corner by the airport. So we got all the pieces of a fully functioning industry, including multiple ridiculous trumpet interchanges, all going into the different industry areas. It's working really well. You can see these have been around. They're highly effective industry areas, taking care of our city. And so that was a fun little build. Interesting to play around with all of our different pieces. You'll also notice that we've got these super cool turbine interchanges. Those are at each of the corners to distribute people out into the main arteries. And you can see the traffic heading in and out of the tunnel system, which is, again, taking people up to the top or around or all the way through, depending on where they want to go. But also, they don't have to enter through this, right? You can take bridges to the different ones. So it splits up traffic and like, basically just spreads everything out really far, which is nice. The other piece that Rogue Wing really wanted to accomplish was the National International Alliance Park of Parks Park. So this is a large national park all the way through here. And it wouldn't be our final city tour without one of the classic radio ads.
You give your money to us, and it will grow with interest. That's the plan, at least. Maybe that's too complicated.
So anyway, Rogue Wing built a really cool park. There's all kinds of park things in here. You can access the park via the rail. You can access it, obviously, via the main park entrance here. And then if you're not a hiker, because this is all paths in here, right? Rock climbing, camping, hunting, everything going on down in the park. If you're not much of a hiker, you can actually drive. So you could take this path, drive over the rail, and come up our not too steep and definitely perfectly fine covered wooden bridge that goes all the way up the mountain. And you spin all the way around, up the little switchback there, and to our lookout point here, a secondary kind of opening or entrance to the park. And actually, the great views from up here. You can see down the entire park, out back to the mainland, into the industry area, which is not maybe the most beautiful view, but the whole park it's pretty cool, actually. Little details in the park, all the camping areas, and beautiful trees. And I really liked building out this area for the, you know, just the less hiking inclined people. You just drive up, you get the best views. You can't actually hike up here. You actually have to drive to this spot, so maybe you get some okay views if you go all the way, you know, over to some of the campsites and things. But really cool little national park area that was also put in by Rogue Wing. Let's jump to our final wing area, and you'll quickly see the 2 and the X. And that is because we have a little competition that we run every year on the Twitch channel, and the Shadow Wing squad, the Shadow Wing members, have actually won that competition over the course of the last 2 years. So they are the 2 times winners, and because of that, not only do they have the shape of the 2 times here, they actually have the campus. Our campus is here, so they can teach people. They can teach people how to win, was the inspiration behind this. So our campus actually follows the 2 all the way around, so you can see the campus buildings connected by pathing so that students can walk around. For whatever reason, this campus is not taken off. I don't know. I cannot get students to attend this campus. I put a metro in here. Maybe they need parking somewhere. Maybe I didn't provide enough parking. Maybe I have no idea. But students are avoiding this campus. We also built all of this mainly in pause and then like unpaused, and that like broke the simulation because everybody moved in uneducated. So that was been a consistent problem for us as well. So we have our beautiful campus area here with Shadow Wing, and also the little town that comes alongside it. So basically meant to kind of simulate a small college town, which I think kind of accomplished pretty well. There's a rail stop here for passengers. metro that connects in. And then they got the airport. So we got cargo airport over with Rogue Wing, and then a Shadow Wing taking the passenger airport. Again, wanted this in a shape of an X, and then obviously had to... The way the airports work with the one-way taxi terminals and things makes it so you got to do some interesting things, but I really like how this turned out. They've got their own kind of highway exit, and then you can swing around, drop people off. All of their kind of services are here, along with a bunch of parking things that they can do. Airport's got the double-decker arrivals and departures. Plenty of room for some small planes, big planes on the outside. And then one of the most fascinating things, and if we could get a plane to spawn, I would show you for sure. When planes take off in this direction, you'd think they'd go off this way, but no. They actually begin the steepest climb ever in the history of airplanes and take off directly over the mountain. And by the time they get up into this vicinity over here, they're actually just barely going over top of the trees. Probably one of the most scary flights you could possibly take, landing in and out of this airport. So that is, and as you can see, the two line up 2 times winning wing. Shadow Wing, that's their kind of the inspiration for their build with the airport and the university, covering each of the different pieces of City Skylines. That's one of the things I really wanted to feature in this build as well, was the different DLCs, the different industries, all the different components, the universities, the airports, all of the different pieces you could do. A little creativity with the Vanguard Wing, a little bit of the more realism with the Phoenix Wing. And then we make our way to the main city, the main downtown area, up on top of the island, right here, coming over the mountain. This is a, like, pseudo-Chicago-inspired idea that I had. I wanted to do something where I was going to put, like, a little bit of a Dutch kind of section into it, and then I also really liked a lot of the buildings on the workshop from Chicago. So put together, obviously, we've got some of the different bigger component buildings from Chicago kind of framing our skyline, including Willis, and then a lot of different ones in here. There's buildings from different cities, but primarily we've got a lot of Chicago stuff kind of featured in the skyline. And then we actually built this secondary skyline solely for the views to the main entrance. The main entrance to the city, as we saw kind of in the very first shot there, you can't actually see the main downtown, so we built this little section off here so that there was a nice kind of skyline view. These are mostly Dubai buildings just because they're stunningly gorgeous. And so they framed kind of there's a little residential offshoot here with its own little exit. Our suburban area here. And then we did a build of Jurassic Park. So I'll take you in to Jurassic Park. You can see our canal system that runs throughout the city. Again, meant to kind of mimic, in a way, the rivers coming off the lake in Chicago, just to get that kind of feel, which hopefully we captured. I'll take you through downtown here in just a moment. But the Jurassic Park build was kind of an inspired thing that we did. It looks pretty cool at night. Hopefully we'll flip over into day here in a moment. We're trying to imitate, a little bit of Jurassic World, maybe. And there were little Easter eggs all over the island as well. There's a crashed boat that I put the Jurassic Park logo on. An old, broken down lighthouse that's somewhere else on the island that also has the Jurassic Park sign on it. And so we built Jurassic Park towards the end. Kind of had to jury rig it a little bit so people would actually, visit it and use it. But you can see we have our beautiful... I think this guy has a name, actually. What was his name? Sparky the dinosaur. Yeah, chat named him Sparky. And you can see we've incorporated some zoo features, but there are also dinosaurs. There are dinosaurs in the park. We've got all kinds of dinos, T-Rexes, we have brachiosaurs hanging out. There was limited assets to work with, but I really feel like we did kind of a cool job. You can see, especially at night, the shadows of the dinosaurs look pretty cool. I don't know what's going on here. T-Rex fighting ring, I'm not really sure happening there. We use a lot of different assets to help kind of create the fences and different things within the park. And then, of course, because it's Jurassic Park, we had to have kind of our research section. So there's a secondary entrance to the park here. The Jurassic Park entrance here. This is where all the research takes place. So we have our research sections of the city doing all of our R&D, our dino DNA work. And then they have a little secondary entrance to kind of the back section which, you know, it's not sus at all. It's totally fine. They're not doing anything illegal at all. And then you can see the park kind of traverses all around. We have a couple empty pens, but then we put in, you know, like some bird cages and different like actual assets from the zoo pack. You can see we've got the dinos kind of throughout in different assets that we were able to find through there. And then again, we put in the water asset. Just, again, little touches here and there to imitate different things. Tried to tree that area up pretty heavily. So our Jurassic Park build, it's pretty cool. I like the idea, especially since we were on an island. So we got that done. If we flip back around to our kind of main city center and all of the different island pieces we put in, I'm not sure any of our ferries are actually running anymore, but there were ferries. Oh, there's one. Perfect. There are ferries. I don't think the bridges are actually functioning because the ferries actually ended up being low enough that the bridges didn't need to open, but these actually are functioning as far as I know, like drawbridges, so they will actually go up. Our ferries actually just cruise right underneath them, so we'll just watch this ferry on approach as it comes down our canal system right next to our large downtown in the canal area. Nice. I like that I got them to work in these canals. It looks pretty cool. So people are actually taking these, traversing their way around the city. We started out with kind of an interesting road layout down here, trying to kind of capture just different... I didn't want it to be too gridded, and so we were trying to follow kind of the curvature of some of the canals. And we've got some interesting layouts because of building shapes, crisscrossing bridges, getting some different trees and things throughout the city. Our metro is here, so we have our major metro. You can see people, clearly lots of metro goers. There are little Sims running around everywhere in there, taking the metro to and fro, in and out of the main part of the island, out to the different districts, where a lot of the residential areas are as well. So lots going on there. We've got a little government sector in kind of through here, where all of our government buildings are. And then a couple of my, like, kind of favorite spaces that I did kind of late in the game were this little area. I was inspired pretty heavily by, again, like Canadian Moose Plays, but I'd been wanting to do a little Dutch build for quite some time, and so we made kind of a, I don't know, it was my kind of interpretation or best attempt at making like a small little Dutch kind of old town. So we've got more modern stuff that's kind of towards the roads, and then we'll kind of do delves back into like an older section. So we'll take a quick spin through here. And then the tour will pretty much be concluded. But here is kind of our little tribute to my Dutch heritage, as well as just the coolness of kind of the assets that were available. This is not like all of them, but I tried to use like a whole bunch of different Dutch assets from the workshop in building this, putting it together. So we've got kind of apartment complexes, but then we've got kind of rolling into like our old town off the canal here. You can see we've got some windmills in the back. We've got kind of our central church right there. We've also got our clock tower, kind of an open market here that you could walk through between the clock tower and the church. Older kind of houses here into cemetery and the church. It's flanked by our walking paths as well as the rest of our kind of Dutch-inspired stuff into kind of the older section of town. Through here, you can see there actually are bikes in my city, which is a rarity in some of my cities. But in this section, there's a lot of bikes going around on the bike paths. We created a little beautiful little section here. We got our ferries running through. We got a couple houseboats sitting on the edge. Beautiful windmill assets as well. You can see some of the Dutch-style bridges crossing over into the main part of town here. And you could look through, again, the church, the clock tower. I don't know, I really liked how this turned out. I didn't spend a ton of time kind of perfecting it, but I think it works really well. Highly kind of pedestrian, bike-friendly area. And then I kind of scooted that in. I needed to fill this with something, and I found these beautiful Chicago row homes. Like, so I mixed it with a bunch of Dutch, like, single occupancy homes that were more like separate cottage-type Dutch stuff, and blended that in with these brownstones. So these kind of make up, again, like a Chicago-inspired area. You can see we kept the bike theme throughout this particular section. So we've got the bikes continuing through here as you kind of progress through. This is just kind of our old town kind of Chicago area. I really like it. We used specific trees that were pointed out might be more Dutch than others. I can't remember what this particular pack was, but that's throughout the Dutch section and this section. And again, you can see the streets kind of right off the canals. Ignore the ferry driving directly through the bridges. It's fine. He's fine. Everything's fine. And then again, you can see a lot of the Dutch-inspired housing on this side of the build as well. I really enjoyed putting all of that together. We've got our big hospital complex is right here in kind of the downtown area. And you can see all of our main buildings there as we kind of pan around that. Really enjoyed putting this together. What a fun build. And a really good way, I think, to kind of end our time in City Skylines 1. I've really been enjoying City Skylines 2, so I'm excited to continue that on the channel, and we'll see more maybe tours from our cities there as well. But this has been the tour of our final city in our City Skylines 1 build history. 2.5, almost 3 years really, of City Skylines builds in this series. Really enjoyed putting this particular city together, kind of showing off a lot of the different things I've learned, and being able to kind of celebrate the community as part of the build as well. So it was a ton of fun to put all that together. Thank you all so much for watching the series. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're enjoying this content, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. We'll make sure we cover some Cities 2 stuff on the channel as well. If you're subscribed, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can catch the next time I post anything kind of cities related. It's been a privilege to share all of my builds with you. Thank you for participating and watching some of those city tours and going through all the different builds that we did in City Skylines. Thank you all so much, and I will see you next time.